What's up, y'all? What's going on? It's your boy, the man, the smoothest DJ in the land. It is DJ D Dub here with the MGMT podcast. We have a special guest. If you could see him, you could see him. If you can't, you're going to see him pretty shortly, man. Look, I'm excited for this one. I am very excited for this one. I met this young man, and yes, I'm calling him young because he looked like it. He looked like it. I'm gonna give it to him. I'm gonna give it to him. Look, y'all. Oh, first of all, before I get started, because I'm excited. Like I know few about this gentleman, but I can't wait to learn more, especially on the music side. And again, about this podcast, the MGMT podcast, it's all wrapped around music. So it's whatever a person is, their profession, what they've been through, what they've gone through, their childhood, their adulthood, having kids, whatever that is. What did music do to influence that, right? And I'm not talking about in the way of, you using music to have kids. You get what I'm saying, right? So it's like, what did music do for a certain individual? And this is what this podcast is about, because it's birthed from my book. If you don't have my book, I need you guys to go ahead and grab the book. Music Gets Me Through. It's literally a book about the things that I went through through COVID. I went through a hard breakup. I went through a hard breakup with the world, a hard breakup in the secular world. I went through, man, losing 60 pounds in about 4 to 5 months. My dad passing. I went through a lot. But this book, God gave me a lot of songs to help me get through each and every trial that I went through. So this is what this podcast is about. So not only you hearing it from me, you're hearing it from my friends. You're hearing it from individuals that might have went through similar situations or something that's totally different, but music was that guide for them. God embodied music and downloaded music into whatever that they had going on. So that's what the Music Gets Me Through podcast is about. And I'm glad to be here, man. I'm glad to be here with this young man, Willie Spears, man. This gentleman, man. I met him a couple years ago at a conference. Shout out to Myron. Shout out to Pastor Myron. Shout out to him for doing the men's conference. And Willie was one of the speakers, man. And he killed the stage. He killed the stage. He talked to us men as if we was his brother. And you felt as if, he wasn't doing it just to be on stage. Like he really wanted to pour into us. And me DJing the event, I really was sitting there and grasping everything that he said. I took all single notes. I took everything and I just applied every single thing that he said. I remember he even gave me his book. What is it? Soul. What is it? What is it? Soul?
Soul searching.
Soul Searchers. Yes. I still have the book Soul Searchers. I remember him giving me that book. I gave him my book. We exchanged. And then ever since then, I'll be honest with you guys, we vanished. He went his way, I went my way. But one thing I do love about social media is that I promise you guys, every single day when I open up my TikTok, this man is right there. This man is right there. He's speaking. He's on the stage somewhere. He's talking to in the educational system. This guy is just, I'm talking about, he's just breathing life into kids, to teachers, to on a pulpit at a service. You never know where you're gonna find this man. So I said, man, I wonder, in all of what he does, what does music do for him? How does music get him through? How does music help him wake up? How does music help him get on stage? How does music help him, if he's having a bad day and he's on his way to go speak, what is he listening to on his way? Or if he's like, yo, I just need music right now. Or have you been listening to music all of these times? Like, so this is something that I'm very curious to understand and to learn from this gentleman. So without further ado, y'all give it up and y'all welcome Mr. Willie Spears in the building. He's in the building. He's in the building. He's in the building. Look, I should be having air horns and stuff. I don't even have the air horns, nothing. Look, I'm unprepared because I'm too excited. I'm so excited to have this man. How you feeling?
I'm great, man. I think that your podcast is unique. I'm blessed to be on a lot of podcasts, and most people don't have this angle. Most people ask the same questions. It's about being a speaker. Some of them are faith-based podcasts. Some of them are sports-based or educational-based. But I haven't had one that focused on music. And so when I got your book, man, that first day I read like the introduction and a couple of chapters, and then I got busy, man. I hadn't gone back to it, so I feel convicted. But I'm gonna go back to it, man. But I did read some of it, and I follow you on social media as well. I love what you're doing. I'm jealous because I can't DJ. All I can do is push play. And so I love the fact that you're a real DJ, man. That's dope. And that you're a DJ in this space. When I had a podcast, I had DJ Wado on my podcast. Yeah. And some people don't know it. DJ Wado had like the first podcast ever. Like 20 years ago, we weren't even calling it podcast. He was interviewing Lecrae and Tripoli and Shobaraka and Tadashi and those guys. And I was locked in and glued in. This is like 2006, 2005. It was a long time ago. And he's still in that space. And so when I see you, I see like the next DJ Wado, the next guy that's spinning records, in the CHA space. And it's legit. It's not corny. It's not lame. It's real. And so, man, thank you for what you do. And thanks for having me on.
No, thank you, man. Look, shout out to DJ Wado, man. That's the guy, man. Like, I've been watching him too, and I've been seeing him too. I didn't know y'all collabed and y'all had a podcast. Wow.
Yeah, man. I did a podcast called Win at Home years ago, and I had a few. It was mostly sports based, but I had a few non-sports people on, and he came on, man. I had to see the episode, man. He killed it. We talked about top 5 artists of all time, CHH and secular, and we talked about a lot of different things. He told me how he came to know Christ, and he had a phenomenal testimony, man. It was great. But I'm a fan. I'm a DJ Wado fan, so I had him on a podcast because I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
Right? It was all about. I did some little clips, and one of the clips got a lot of volume, a lot of followers and links and shares. But this is about probably 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, man, you remind me of him though, seriously.
Thank you, man. Look, shout out to Wado. We see you, my guy. We see you out there. Keep doing your thing. Look, quick question, man. First of all, welcome back to the education system, right? I know a lot of kids went back to school. So, how's that been going so far? I know. Did you start when they went in August, or I know some kids they start late September or early September. Are you already incorporated into the system yet, or are you?
For July 15th through September 1st, we did 42 presentations in 18 states. So That's the back to school time where teachers are going back to school. They bring a speaker in to kind of get them hyped up and remind them how important they are and thank them for the good job that they're doing and remind them that they matter. So that's our busiest season. I do a lot of those every year. So that just ended. And now we'll start speaking more to students. So in a couple of days, I go to Douglas, Georgia to do a suicide prevention conference. I'll be there for 2 days. And the number of suicides is very high now all over the country. And the stats for Georgia are really, really, really bad. And so we're going to talk to those students about how important it is to not try to end it when things don't go your way or when you have a bad day. And then the next week, I'll be in Chambers County, Alabama, and I do a church on Wednesday night in Kinston, Alabama. Then the next week, I'll be in Pennsylvania and Ohio for the whole week, and that'll all be students. So it's mostly teachers that middle of July through the 1st of September, and then I do a bunch of students before we have the Christmas break.
Okay. So we know you do 200, 300 presentations a year. We know that. We get that, right? So, but look,
it's crazy.
Let's talk to the people. First of all, let's back up and talk about who you are. Who are you? You know what I mean? I know who you are. DJ Wado know who you are. So you got 2 viewers right there, right? But
that's right.
Who are you? Like who are you? Like I've magnetically became attached to the way you put words together, the way you talk, the way you communicate in the educational system. Like I know for a fact, if I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old daughter, right? 2 daughters. I know if I need them to, if I'm not saying anything that resonate with them, I can pass them on to you, and they can be like, Dad, he just blew me away, and I'm be like, so you didn't hear nothing I said. So I give you to somebody. So, but tell the people how did you get to that point? Who you are, like what made you become like so dominant in the educational system?
Well, it's a lot. It's so many ways to go with that. So I'm gonna try to make it as fast and as concise as possible. But I'm an only child, born and raised in Panama City, Florida. My mother and father weren't married, weren't even dating. They hooked up after my dad got out of jail. They knew each other from around the way. And when I was born, my mom and dad changed their life. So when I was born, my mom and dad left the streets and ran to the church. Both of them ran to the church. So I didn't know that side of them. I never heard my parents cuss. Never seen them do anything illegal. I never seen them drink, smoke, nothing like that. And there's no judgment against anyone. I'm just saying I've never seen that in my house. We were always in church. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was in every choir. I was a part of every. I was in speaking contests, and that's where the speaking started. Holy Temple Church of God in Christ. Grew up there. Started teaching Sunday school at 8 years old. So that was my life. That's kind of my foundation. That's what built whatever I am today. Fast forward, my parents get a divorce when I'm in college. I go to college to play football. I played football at this really small school in Oklahoma. We win a national championship. And so I think to myself, I want to play football. So I'm DJing on campus. I won 2 statewide awards as the best college DJ in the state of Oklahoma. And I was at a small school, Northwestern Oklahoma State University. We beat out Tulsa, OU, Oklahoma State, all the big schools. 2 years in a row, I won the #1 DJ. And so I sent my air check tape to MTV. I sent it to BET, and they didn't hit me back. So then I sent it to K104 in Dallas, which was big in the early 90s, to WBLX in Mobile, Alabama. And they were like, well, we have some internships, but we can't pay you. And then my hometown, there was a lady named Linda Scott. She used to be on the news. She was a music director, a news director at a radio station. And she said, look, you're too big for your hometown. You need to go bigger. And I said, well, no, that's not true, because everybody I talked to said no. So I'm not bigger. I'm not bigger at all. And so she hooked me up with Disney Cruise Line. And I ended up working at Disney Cruise Line. I was a DJ on Disney Cruise Line for 2.5 years.
Okay. Oh, man, I need y'all I don't have the air horn sound. I'm sorry. I'll be prepared next time. I need y'all to put the claps, put the air horns in the chat. Y'all know we're an interactive podcast, so we're not going to play. I need y'all to give the virtual claps. I need y'all to give it that air horn. Give all of those emojis that we use to this guy just said he was on the Disney cruise. That's one of my bucket lists. I ain't gonna lie to you. I want to do Carnival, Disney cruise. I want to do one of those. But look, you said that you was a DJ on a college campus.
Yep.
First of all, you was a DJ. Shout out to that. Salute to you. Regardless of how long you did it, you've been a DJ, so salute to that. What made you even start doing that? Because, let's piggyback to and say that you were a Kojic baby. So I was a Kojic baby. So Church of God in Christ, Kojic baby. So we brothers for life. You know what I mean? I feel like a fraternity here. So look, Kojic babies and DJs. I think we have a lot in common. So what made you go from? Because this may be the same as me, and let's just figure this out. Right. So let's break down this first part. Being in Kojic, mom and dad ran to the church, which is a great thing, right? They ran to the church, but then you was going to church, but then you end up becoming a DJ on a college campus. What was that transition that made you want to leave? You didn't necessarily leave church, but you went to college and then you became a DJ there where you wasn't playing gospel music. Am I right? So 100%. Yeah, so what made you do that? What made you transition from being in church? Because again, if you're a Kojic baby or just in church, you kind of would think, or somebody would say, hey, you live in church, you die by the church, you do everything by the church, but you do it. You went different. You went outside the church and went to college.
Right. So I went to a very, very small college. No black churches in the entire town. Okay. No AME. No Missionary Baptist, no Kojic, none of that. So I ended up I went to 4 different churches. I actually took every theological course they had there, but I never missed church on Sunday. I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you. 4 years of college, every Sunday I was in church. The first year I went to the Church of Christ. The second year I went to United Methodist. Third year I went to First Baptist. And the fourth year I went to Assembly of God. So every Sunday I was just trying to learn about these churches. Some of them were like Kojic, some of them were not. Church of Christ didn't even let women talk. That was weird to me. It was no instruments. I just learned so much about churches. Well, my major was communications. So one of my classes was a radio class. I had to learn how to work the mixer board.
Okay.
And when I got on the mic, I just was myself. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Spears. We doing our thing live. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, K104, baby. Or whatever the station. That's what I would do is KNSU, actually. 105.1. I would say 105 point penny, 2 PHAT fat to be skinny. Y'all keep it low. So in that little town, they had never seen that before. Now back home, I worked at Island 106, and I did that, and it was okay. But in this little town, a black guy from the South, my accent, it was all new, and everybody was intrigued. And so me and a guy named Greg Bryant from Chicago, we had a show called Hot Again, where it was a 3-hour show, and 1 hour was devoted to, for lack of a better word, student complaints. So students complaining about parking. Students complaining about them raising fees. Students complaining about campus security. So
that's a good segment. That's a good segment. That's a good segment for them to live on. Yeah.
So people would be glued to the radio for that segment, and we played hip hop. It was a top 40 station, so it wasn't a hip hop station. We played hip hop for 2 straight hours, and then we talked. We made fun of each other. We joked. We talked about sports. Had a little sports segment. So people started asking me to DJ their parties. Hey, could you DJ this? Could you, even local high schools in the area? Hey, could you come by and DJ our prom? Can you come by and DJ our wedding? Can you come by? So in that little 50-mile radius, I was taking all the school's equipment in my little Hyundai, and I was driving and setting the speakers, and I was pushing play on the CDs, and I would beat mix to the two CD players, and in their mind I was mixing, but I was really like I'll find like Can't Touch This and Brick House. You know what I'm saying? And I put them together, and the beat would go together, and they thought I was a man. And so, but there was the conviction there. I remember playing like Bad Boy when it first came out, and Tupac. And I was like, man, I know this is not right, man. This is not right, but I love the music. And so I started playing the music. And then when I left college, I was like, what am I going to do? I really was feeling a pull to be a youth pastor. I was feeling a pull to be a DJ. And my prayer was that God would close the doors that I wasn't supposed to go through and open the ones that I was. And all of that prayer, I didn't fully take heed because that cruise ship was like an unbelievable opportunity. And
okay, so did the cruise ship come in the middle of your conviction?
Yes. And I still was going to church every Sunday. And this is what I did. I compared myself to the other people on the cruise. We had like 983 crew members on the cruise. Nobody went to church. Not because they were heathens. It was just no time to go to church.
Right.
You work every single day. So, but on Sunday, I would drive to a church. We would land in America, in Florida on Sunday, and I would drive. It was Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church. I went there every Sunday. And that's kind of how I would what's the right word? Rationalize what I was doing. Well, at least I'm going to church. I'm not a bad guy. And this is what happened. I'm going to blow your mind, D. I'm hosting 2,000 people on the sail away. So we leave at 4 o'clock to sail away. And it's a big party. And they celebrate good times. Come on. And I'm leaving. So whatever I do, they do. If I'm doing the Macarena, they do it. If I do the electric slide, they do it. Whatever I'm doing, 2,000 people are listening to every word I say. And God whispers in my ear, I wish you would do this for me. No lie. And I'm like, I'm not even singing. Like, I mean, it's just a song. What are we? And so at night, I set records. I broke beverage records. So I got recognized at this meeting, want to recognize DJ Willie for the third time. The first 2 times I didn't go to the meeting. For the third time, breaking the beverage records. And I'm like, I don't even sell alcohol. Why did I break a record? And the bar server said, when Willie DJs your room, you're going to sell more alcohol than you would any time that week. And Satan was saying, thank you. You threw me an alley-oop. So I was throwing an alley-oop. And mama, I'm not drinking. I'm not begging nobody to buy drinks, but I was reading the announcements. Hey, one time, it's Super One in the bar tonight, baby. Let's go and get them kamikaze. Let's go. I was just reading the paper. Right? Hey, you ain't wasted yet. You ain't had enough to drink yet. It's your boy. Let's go. It's that new Mary Jane. And so the Satan was like, bro, you doing a great job, man. So I was convicted, even though I wasn't doing it. I wasn't a bad guy. I had to leave. So I left the cruise ship, and they were like, why are you leaving? You're going to be a cruise director one day and you have all this talent. And I just knew it wasn't what God had for me. And I was telling jokes. I was doing comedy. So I had a comedy night as well. And I wasn't cussing, but the comedy didn't glorify God. I was making fun of women's bodies.
So you was doing comedy on the boat as well?
Yeah, that happened by accident though. I was hired to be a DJ, and it rained one day, and it rained real bad, so they canceled a bunch of activities outside, and they asked me to just keep their attention for about an hour. They said, whatever you got to do, keep their attention. And so I was on the mic talking. I was just making fun of people in the crowd. And this is no joke. This is very inappropriate. I know this is a Christian podcast.
Let's do it.
But a woman was very heavy-chested, and she was pregnant. And so I brought her up, and I was kind of making fun of her dress. And I said, are you pregnant with twins? She was like, oh my goodness, I am. I said, the twins gonna be finger twins. And they died. And a director from Disney was there, and I got written up. I got written up for that. And they said, we really like your comedy, but you crossed the line. You can't talk about a woman's anatomy. But
you can do that on Carnival or somewhere else, but Disney's, that's a whole nother, yeah.
100% right. And they said, but we do want you to start doing a comedy hour once every cruise. And so then I started doing, had no comedy background, didn't know if I was funny or not. That kind of started there. So I was DJing and doing comedy, not knowing that was a prerequisite for what God had me do later. So I'm going to fast forward real quick to connect these two. So God told me, I wish you would do this for me. Fast forward about 5 years, I'm doing a Fellowship of Christian Athletes camp. And I'm the MC. Same thing happened. Somehow they said, could you stall? We need you to stall for about 30 minutes. So I started doing these chants. I started doing these games. It's 600 football players, right? And it was amazing. And so they told me, keep going. They said, keep going, keep going. And so that was 2005. I've been doing FCA camps. I've done over 100 FCA camps since that time. But as I was doing it, I heard God say, plain as day, not in an audible voice, but I felt it in my spirit. He said, this is what I was talking about. Thank you. And so I was having that same energy, that same enthusiasm, that same passion, but for God, for Christ. And I give you a chant real quick. It's a chant. I stole part of it from this other guy I heard in the camp. He say, I used to drive a Chevrolet, and they repeat you. I used to drive a Chevrolet, and now I roll with FCA. Now I roll with FCA. And it's all these different cars. It got so catchy. I've been in airports, fast food places, all around the country, and somebody say, you Chevrolet guy. When I was in high school, we went to that camp. Well, you did that song. People DM me, can you send me that song? And so God used the secular, quote unquote, success to transfer to him getting the glory through the same gifts he gave me.
Oh yeah, I think we're done. We're done with the when I tell you, look, I'm telling you, when I tell you, bro, when I tell you, I've been saying this for years. Literally, I've been saying this for years. Thank you for sharing that, because it confirms to me that God is speaking through me to talk to you guys and to talk to the people in general. Because I literally talked about the story of what you said was you were doing this for 2,000 plus people, and God was like, why you don't do this for me? And you was literally in the space of listening, you giving what you got to give to the people, right? And then you're also giving them the influence for them to continue to drink. Because people don't understand that. And I've been trying to say this for the longest. And whoever's watching, and y'all know, if y'all know me, y'all know I've been saying this and I've been saying this. So when it comes down to music and how I stopped listening to secular music a long time ago. Like the today's music, I stopped listening to that a long time ago. But when I stopped DJing at clubs and stuff because of that same reason. When I'm DJing at an event or when I'm DJing at a club or something like that, they need me in order for them to keep drinking. They're not going to keep drinking without, if there's no music, what are they drinking to? They're not going to dance nothing.
You're Satan's soundtrack. That's what God told me. God said, you're Satan's soundtrack. Satan has this movie, and the movie is lame. Like Satan is trying to set the scene. The scene is lame without the soundtrack. We need you to do that. And so I was telling myself, but I'm not drinking. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not grinding on no girls. I'm not trying to get phone numbers. All I'm doing is my job. I'm just doing the job. All I'm doing is pushing play. But the music has influenced you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. And because that's how I know it's true. If it was just music, why didn't I play nursery rhymes?
Right.
If it was just music, why didn't I play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star?
Right.
No, I'm playing the music I know is going to get you in the mood to do something that does not honor God. I know that for a fact. Now, some people say it's just music, and I can go scripture with you. I can go all day on that, but I'm not going to go back and forth with you. God has to convict you of this, not me. God has to, and when he convicts you and you come to me for the scriptures, we can talk about David playing the harp. We can talk about how David never made a sound with his mouth, that the instrumental was enough to make an evil spirit leave him song. And if an evil spirit can be played out, then the evil spirit can be played in. I go all day with you. And I've done revivals, workshops, home studies. I've done this with my teams. But Satan is so smart. His actually body is made up of violins and organs and horns and keys. It's a battle. You don't want to fight. Don't get in the ring with this guy. And so, but this thing that's great. I'm a lot older than you.
Yeah.
When I was young, there was no good Christian music.
Okay.
When I was 8, 10, 15, my dad would not allow secular music in our house, and the Christian hip hop was horrible. Like, not bad. Hey, God is the king of my life, and he's gonna make sure I go to heaven one day. Like, it was
the Curtis Blow of Christian music.
Christian music, right? And so I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I can't do this, man. I cannot. I don't gotta listen to Luke, but I can't listen to this crap. But now you have no excuse. Now it's just as good. You have no excuse now.
Okay, so all right, so look, for you guys watching, and this is the conviction moment, right? Because everybody needs to understand that. If you're in the music space, if you're a musician, if you're a DJ that's converting to want to get into Christian music, or you're just tired of the music that you're listening to today. Again, like Unc said, y'all can do whatever y'all want. Y'all can do the whole history y'all want. It's easy just to look into what's going on and what you're listening to, and you clearly can understand. I be getting people in my comments, oh, you capping. Music don't do this to me, and it don't bother me. Okay, then it's not for you. It's not for you. But you're gonna come around one day, you're gonna be like, you know what? I ain't gonna lie to you. That song, it helped me influence to do something wrong. Like, I've been telling people a lot, like when somebody going for a drink or somebody DJing, when I'm DJing and somebody go for a drink, now that person is gonna leave and walk with their friend to their car, and then they're gonna be influenced. Nobody's like, everybody is drunk, everybody is down, everybody is like intoxicated. So who's gonna drive? They both have to figure it out. They both gonna have to drive. None of them is in their right sense to be like, you know what, let's call a cab X, Y, and Z. So they're gonna get in the car. They're gonna get in the car, and when they get in the car, something is gonna happen. But guess who influenced all of that? We did.
Yep. You soundtrack. And I was at a housewarming, man. And at this housewarming, my partner, he played music. And I didn't have to tell him what to play because he knows me. Mm-hmm. Now, there was some people at the house party, at the housewarming. They're not bad people. They're not evil. But they're used to a gathering there being drinks. And they're used to a gathering there being certain type of music. And they were asking these questions, like, do we get to request music? Who got the aux? Can I get that? And we were like, nah, we're good on the music. So all my boy played was CHH. That's all he played. Like, not even a Cool in the Gang, like all CHH. And so when it was over, a guy came up to him, and I'm not gonna say he was a bad guy, but he was a guy, I would say, from the streets.
Okay.
A guy came up to him and says, hey man, can I get that playlist? Like all that music you was playing. And then another guy who goes to church and stuff but had never heard CHH, he came up to him. He was like, hey man, what is this, bro? Can you show me those songs? Ironically, the guy that was playing the music, I met him in 2012. He grew up in the church but never heard of Christian hip hop. And he came to one of my football workouts and he heard the music. He was like, man, what is this? I've never heard this. So when I tell people, especially dealing with young people, they already know Glorilla. They already know Young Gunner. They know them. It's our job to introduce them to something that they don't know about. Why would we feed them the same food they got at all the other restaurants, if you will? It's our job to say, you know what? Here's an alternative to that. Not judging your music, because when I was your age, I listened to pop, I listened to Big, I listened to Outkast. I'm not judging you at all. What I'm saying is, did you know about this? That's all I'm saying, right? And you could call it vegan, meaning it's better for you, but it's the same thing, right? You call it whatever you want. But we don't know it exists until someone like you or I introduced it to them.
Okay. All right. So let's get into Willie's playlist. Let's get into Willie Spears' playlist, right? So now, as a kid growing up, like you said, there wasn't like anything like an ill Christian or anything like that. But what was you listening to growing up? Or what was your, because I think at this time, was your parents already in church by the time you was able to register music?
Yeah, my whole life they was in church. I didn't know about their past till I talked to my aunts and uncles when I was in my early teens. Like from 0 to like 12, I never knew my dad was in the world or my mom was locked up and they was incarcerated. I never knew. It never came up in conversation. Okay. And then when I got older, my aunts and my uncle be telling these stories. Yeah, I remember your daddy. He had that gun. I was like, Deacon Spears had a gun? I don't know. That's not right.
Yeah.
And I learned stuff I didn't know. And it was good for me to know, to see how they changed for me. To be real, they changed for me. And so I listened to Kirk back then. Like my dad bought me, my auntie bought me Kirk Franklin stuff, but I love R&B. When I say love, I love SWV. I know it's not gonna be popular, but I love R. Kelly. I'm talking every song. Yeah. From first 3 albums, I knew every single song. I love New Edition. I love New Edition. I love Boyz II Men when they came out. And then I really wasn't into hard rap because I've never been a fan of profanity. Like even to this day, it just aggravates me when people cuss a lot. So I've never been in like when explicit lyrics would come out. I didn't like that. Even when I was by myself, I felt weird listening to people cuss people out and use the N word over and over. That's been weird for me. But I did like Big. So when Big came out, I would get the clean version and I would never bring it in my house because my dad would go ham. Like he would lose it. So I never brought it in the house. But I had Big. I love Big. I like pop, but I love Big and I love Outkast. And so that was kind of my playlist from like middle school through college.
Okay. So now did you ever have a song that you went to when you were having a bad day or you had a bad breakup as in middle school, and high school? What was that song? Give me that exact song, or if you remember, what was that breakup song?
That was Weak by SWV. I don't know if you ever heard it. I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly speak, I lose all control. That was my jam. And a girl named Dorothy Wilson, she was out of my league.
He got the name. He got the name, y'all. He got the name.
Dorothy was out of my league. Let me tell you my type, White. Let me tell you my type. So I'm weird now. I'm telling you, I'm different. Okay. I've always been different.
Okay.
And I've owned it.
Okay.
My type is, you might have to look this person up. Diane Carroll. Look her up. Felicia Rashad, Claire Huxtable.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I had an auntie named, they got a divorce, but my uncle was married to this woman named Bootsy. That was her real name. My aunt Bootsy looked like Claire Huxtable. Like that natural hair, like Michelle Obama, like when she was first in office, 08 Michelle Obama.
Okay.
So this girl, Wilson, Dorothy looked like them. She looked like a grown-up girl. Like she was in 8th grade with like a natural look. She just was pretty. She was smart. It's going to sound really bad. She wasn't from our hometown. She was a move-in. And you can tell. Yeah. You can tell instantly. She didn't act like our girl. She wasn't like, you can tell, she not from here. And okay. I wanted Dorothy. Like, I wanted to date, and I couldn't. She didn't give me the time of day. But she did sing Weak at PE one day. We were sitting in the bleachers, and she sang that song Weak. She sang it. And I melted. I was like, bro, I acted tough. But inside I was like, man. But she didn't date. Like, I don't think her parents would let her date or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I had a girlfriend. The girlfriend, that little girl I was dating was a great girl. She's a teacher now. She's married to a pastor. She's an awesome girl. She was beautiful too. But when I would hear Weak, I would think of Dorothy, and it would just take me back to sitting in those bleachers at Roosevelt Middle School, and I could just see that hair flowing from Dorothy and her singing that song. But yeah, man, that was my jam back in the day. Anything I went through, good or bad, I would listen to a week, and it would get me to the next step of life.
You get so weak in the knees, you can hardly speak.
That's right. I lose all control.
I lose all control.
That's a true story.
Over. Hey, look, at the DJ, man, in college, what was your songs that you was rocking out to? Like, what was you playing in college that you enjoyed that people had you coming back? Like, and your name was DJ Willie?
No, in college, don't laugh, dog.
Come on, give me a DJ name. Go on now.
In college, I was Spears the Nickel.
Spears the
Nickel. So I played football, and we were pretty good.
Okay.
And I wore number 5.
Okay.
And in college, I got a 5 tattooed on my arm. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep, we can see it. Yep.
Okay, so I just got this tattoo. This is like 97. I just got this tattoo. And in one of my songs, I said, 3rd and 10, looking for the nickel, something we get in trouble, he'll get us out of the pickle. Started with riddles, poems, and then raps, putting PC and Alba on the map. It was something like that. So that line was in there, and my partner started calling me the nickel. All right. So at first I was Mouth of the South, and then that was my rap / I used to rap a little bit too. That was my rap / DJ name. And then one day I just said, hey, this your boy Spears the Nickel. And it wasn't DJ Spears, it was just Spears the Nickel, the DJ.
Okay.
And then when I got on the cruise ship, they would put out these flyers. When you go on a cruise, they put out the flyers for the day. And they named me DJ Willie. They said DJ Willie would be weight bands. So that kind of stuck. But that's kind of how it started. It was kind of lame, man, but it was fun at the time.
No, if it have a story behind it. If you just say Willie the Nickel, and I'm like, okay, what made you get that name? So for you to have a story behind it is dope. Yeah.
I graduated 5/5/2000. So I graduated May. So the 5s were everywhere, and I won 5 awards that year in the DJ awards things. And so back then in the mid-90s, Bad Boy ruled the airwaves.
Yeah.
Bad Boy was everything. Still Dre came out, the Chronic album came out. But where I was in the Midwest, Oklahoma, a lot of white kids, the Bad Boy sound transcended race and socioeconomic status. It wasn't just big in New York. It was big everywhere. So when I would do parties back then, if I would play anything Big, Puff, Mace, 112, Faith Evans, that whole collective, they jump in the dance floor. Like Mace, out
in Oklahoma.
Yeah, in Oklahoma, but it was very rural Oklahoma. It just came out. And so that was what I played. Anything Bad Boy, they would go crazy.
Wow. And I'm originally from New York City, so we was always hearing that out in the city. But to know that it was playing like that in Oklahoma, that's so dope.
Yes.
Because for us, Oklahoma, we never heard of Oklahoma. We never heard of North Dakota, South Dakota, the Midwest. We never heard of like all of that. We knew, only thing we knew was our 5 boroughs, right? And then the songs that we listened to in the 5 boroughs. Like we knew about the West Coast, but we knew that's around the time when the East Coast and West Coast was beefing, right? So, but what was so those are your songs as far as a DJ. So now when you started to transition and you started to have the conflicting moments, right? And at what point did you ever have to fast from secular music while after that transition? Or did you just say, you know what, let me just still listen to secular music, but let me listen to more Christian music? How did that work for you?
So 2000, I graduated. 2001 and 2, I played arena football and worked on a cruise ship. 2003, I became a teacher and a youth pastor in the same year.
Wow.
So when that happened, I realized my influence. And I realized, because I was playing music as my students were coming to the classroom, and I remember I was playing Wankster by 50. He had just came out. And that song was so big. And I don't know, I'm sitting at my desk one day, and it hits me that this guy is bragging that Ja Rule is not a real thug because he hasn't been shot. And I'm a real thug because I've been shot 9 times. And to me, that was so ignorant. So now I'm more of a thug if I drive around looking for someone who looks like me and trying to shoot them. But I'm less of a thug if I don't want any part of that life. And it was a conviction because the kids were like, hey, play that one song and play this one song. So I realized my influence, and I knew I should have been listening to secular music. And I didn't. Matter of fact, back in high school, I would only listen on Saturdays. I got to the point where I would only listen to secular music on Saturdays. I couldn't leave it completely. But what happened later, around 2003, I stopped listening completely. And my youth, there's a girl named Victoria Brown. She tells this story. She's 35 years old now. She tells this story all the time. She said, when you put us on the hip hop fast at the church, she said, it changed my life. I stopped getting headaches. I stopped being so flipped at the mouth. Certain things I would do, I didn't do anymore. I didn't realize the pull that the music had on me. And I don't know if you've heard of G. Craig Lewis.
Yes. I
right.
just started listening to him.
Yeah, right. So we started watching the Truth Behind Hip Hop EX Ministry DVDs. This is like 2003, 2004. So we watched them every Wednesday night. Every Wednesday night for a year. No exaggeration. We watched G. Craig and we had a conversation about it. We watched, and it changed all of us. It changed all of us. And these was teenagers.
Wait. Okay, hold on, wait. Back then, when he was putting those videos out, you guys were watching them in real time. Back then. And he was talking about all of that and how crazy. Wow.
03, 04, and it was a guy named Herman Murray that was the pastor of the church. I remember all these names he would use, man. He broke down Bone Thugs and Harmony, broke down Kirk Franklin, broke down all these songs, and it was so convicting you couldn't run from it. Like it was in your face. So then I started doing hip hop revivals. I started doing youth revivals where I would basically regurgitate what G. Craig was saying. But I was vocalizing it. So in North Florida, it was not like South Florida, Miami, and Fort Lauderdale, that area. But we listened to a different brand of music. Like this is one of my unpopular opinions about New York hip hop. Some of New York hip hop artists cannot rap. They just happen to be born in New York. Since they was born in New York, they had access to guys who could rap and access to studios, marketing, and being a part of Big Apple. Eminem could be born anywhere. He was going to be discovered. Jay-Z could be born anywhere. Some of these guys, if they weren't born on third base in New York, they would not have hit a home run. If they were born in Panama City, where I was born, we would never know their name because they weren't talented enough. That's and so I broke that down. And what I think what helped me with my youth, I was real. I was like, hip hop music is horrible. It's going to send you to hell. I said, no. Guys, some of these guys are good. They are. Yeah. The Bible says sin is good, but only for a season. When it becomes full grown, it equals death. The Bible says to Hebrews, let us lay aside every sin and weight that so easily besets or entangles us. So even if you want to say hip hop, listen to hip hop music is not a sin. Okay. If it's not a sin, it's definitely a weight. It's definitely weighing you down from running the race you could run for Christ. And so that right there, it made the antennas on our youth perk up. Like, wow. So it'd be different if I would have said, you listen to hip hop, you're going to hell. All right, we through with that. Now let's talk about David and Goliath. That wasn't my take. My take was like, bro, y'all heard that new Pac album? Man, woo, hit them up. Man, that's good. So I was being real with them. No, guys, this is good music. And McDonald's is good food, but it's not good for you. Right? It's just like my auntie that smokes cigarettes, she don't hate it or she wouldn't do it. It's enjoyable. But she's not going to live as long as she could live had she not smoked the cigarettes. So I'm not judging you guys. Listen to what you want to listen to, but just know this. It's a weight that's weighing you down from doing what God has called you to do. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of successful secular artists that know that. Yeah, and they're convicted.
Facts.
The money, the fame, it's so hard to not gravitate toward them. And so I get it. No judgment over here. I just pray that the conviction continues and that their life can change eventually.
Hey, y'all. Again, y'all know I don't have my air horns, y'all. I don't have my air horns. I'm going to make the noise or whatever. Y'all give the claps. Like, say what I need to say. Because, guys, I'm telling y'all know this. And stop playing and don't act like you don't know what I be talking about. Everything that this man said, I've been saying, and I feel like, it's honestly, is literally refueling me because I would get so discouraged. Sometimes I would do these events. Sometimes I would do a lot of these things, And I feel like a lot of people don't get it. So when I would be like, all right, if people don't get it, I might as well just step back and I might as well just go back to what I know. Because if I'm looking online, everybody's dancing to the world, what the world is playing. But like you said, if you really want to get to where you want to get to and you want to relax and you want to exercise that muscle, you got to go with something that you don't know and introduce something that you're unfamiliar with. So I'm giving these songs that people are unfamiliar with, but guess what? The price for that, I'm not getting the bigger gigs that I normally get. I'm not getting the people that I normally used to play for. I'm not getting that. But a lot of these people aren't dancing because they don't know what type of music they're dancing to. Because a lot of these kids nowadays, a lot of these adults nowadays, they so used to hearing what other people are hearing. So they're not really hearing a song for themselves. If y'all really listen to the songs that's playing now, yeah, like if we're playing Christian music and stuff like that, and we're playing these different positive songs, best believe you're gonna be dancing because you're gonna understand the song for yourself. But you're not taking the time out to understand these songs for yourself. You're just doing it because it's not trending. So you're not dancing because it's not trending. It's not on the Billboard. It's not on the Hot 100. It's not on what the DJs are playing. And I don't play music anymore that has to influence alcohol. I don't do that anymore, right? So it's starting to become a little bit different. But to hear you say this in real time, that back in the 90s and the early 2000s, you were already like right now. I've been listening to Craig G. Lewis. I've been listening to him since 2021. Shout out to my holistic doctor. She put me on to him. I thought I was getting blood, and I tell you, I thought I was getting blood work done, and I was getting I was going on a cleanse, and I had her help me out. And this was around the time when my book was coming out, and me physically, I was physically drained. I couldn't barely walk. I couldn't move. So then I met my holistic doctor at an ET event, right? And shout out to Dr. Janine. But I met her and she put me onto him. And I started listening to him and he was talking about all the stuff with hip hop, how it's demonic, how all this stuff is happening. And I'm like, okay, so I'm in the right path. I'm on the right path. Because how did my doctor just put me onto him out of nowhere? And she lives in Atlanta. She lives in Atlanta and she flies to Texas all the time to go to his church. So how did God just place me with her to start listening to him? Right. So now I'm just like, okay, it's kind of like different now to where I'm doing these conferences, I'm doing these events and stuff like that. So I really no longer do parties anymore because I know what's going to glorify you to dance. You're not going to just dance sober. Nobody's dancing sober anymore. Like nowadays, Willie, like I'm playing line dance. That's all I'm doing. I'm playing line dances now for people to dance. Now, if I'm playing a regular song or if I'm playing This Is How We Do It, or if I'm playing any of these songs, those songs are barely getting by now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're not influenced with alcohol. If it was with alcohol, the dance floor would be rocking, it would be going and stuff like that. But it'd be that way. So I would just, I had a question for you. I did have a question for you. And again, thank you for sharing that because that helped me. And I'm glad that we were able to unpack that because I was just thinking like, man, what does that mean in this space of what I'm in? Like, okay, people not dancing anymore. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Maybe
don't be
in there thinking about what the music is before they start dancing.
Don't be weary and well doing, brother. I'm a living witness that if you just stick to the plow, God is going to exceed your expectations. What I've learned about people, two things. One, never underestimate the poor taste of the American people. Never underestimate the poor. We don't know what's good and what's not because we don't have our own minds. If it was trendy and we would dance to it, right? Because we're followers. Right. We just don't have our own mind. And so when I was a coach for 20 years, a whole other podcast. So I coached some top athletes, several guys made to the NFL. And when I would have these top athletes as a freshman, this happened the other day, matter of fact, I'm helping the kid now. But as a freshman, I would call these colleges, I would say, hey man, this kid's good. Y'all may want to offer him. Y'all want to be the first one to get on him. Now I'm telling you. And nothing, crickets. They wouldn't hit me back. They wouldn't text me back. I say, have I ever given you a guy that wasn't good? watch the film, this guy can play. Nothing. The sophomore year, the University of Alabama offered him. All of a sudden, those same people, coach, we want to offer him. We want to offer him. What? Did you watch him? Man, if Alabama offered him, he must be good. So they couldn't watch and make up the mind for themselves. They had to wait till a big dog did it and they fall underneath. It's the same with music. It's the same in the faith industry. We're so programmed to go after the masses. Before we got on the air, you talked about me being on a bigger stage, right? A guy called me the other day. I won't say his name. He called me the other day. He was like, Speed, I saw you spoke to Oklahoma University, University of Kentucky football, FSU, Clemson, Miami called you several times, Colorado, Coach primed them. They reached out. So he was like, how do you do this? I want to do the same thing. So I gave him the formula, what I think will work. And he did it for like 2 weeks. He hit me back. Man, nobody hit me back. I said, well, what about this little junior college in your hometown? What about this little high school? What about this middle school? He was like, come on, Spear. I ain't trying to be. Come on, bro. So then you don't really want to do this. Yeah. You want to be famous. You want to be like, and I told him, I said, bro, I still substitute teach. The other day, I substituted at a middle school. Like I'm still in the trenches. I still do prison ministry. We just don't post that stuff. You talking about me talking to your kids? I got a kid right now. When I get off the Zoom, I gotta call this kid right now. He's vaping. He's running away from home. I don't even know the mama. She DM me. I'm gonna talk with him in a minute. Like, so the stage is just part of it. And it's a small part. The TikTok, we do so much stuff we never push. And so God has blessed it because our motive is to add value, not to be famous. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, man, you stay pure in your area of conviction. Yeah. God is going to blow your mind. And it's going to come from a place you never expected. I never thought I would be an educational speaker, ever.
Right.
Ever. Yeah. And I'm not trying to brag. You know a lot of speakers. There's a lot of speakers who make more money than I make. I never talk about the money I make ever. But there's a lot of people who make more money. It's not too many who have more engagements than I do.
That's a fact.
It's not too many. And it's almost none that is as influential in the education space that I am. Now, it's enough mics for all of us. My point is, God blew me up in an area I never would have guessed. I would have thought sports, maybe even sports and preaching church.
Yeah.
But education.
Yeah. And or a DJ, like or in comedy.
Right.
In comedy.
Right. In comedy, right. But God said, no, I'm gonna do it over here so you know it's not you. I'm gonna do it over here so you know it's all me. So I can't help but give God the glory because I have an honorary doctorate, D. Somebody sent me an honorary doctorate degree. I'm at this school, they call me Dr. Spears. I was like, well, y'all call me that. They said, we looked on the register, you have a doctorate degree. And I was like, well, I do, I just never talk about it because it's honorary. They're like, well, we call you, we're gonna honor your degree. God is like, I'm the one that gives the favor. Like I'm in charge. And so I told the guy the other day, I said, I don't need this. God did all this. I didn't want to be an educational speaker. That was never on my goal or my bucket list. God said, because you're faithful with a little bit, I'm going to bless you with a lot. And so I'm telling you, man, stay where you are. Keep being convicted. The fruit's going to come from what you're doing. And God's going to blow your mind. Like he's already doing. I already know he is.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that. First of all, thank you for that. I never thought I'd be a DJ. I never thought. Like my family was doing it. But I'm just like you. Like I had my hat in a lot of different things, but I didn't think I was a DJ. I wasn't like my brothers. My brothers, they're all musically inclined. Not me. Like I wasn't the guy sitting there listening to everybody's album. That wasn't me. Like I was dancing like to certain songs that was out like when I was a kid growing up, but I wasn't listening to every album or every song or a lot of the songs that people would think that I know, I don't know. And I started to know them because I'm DJing, right? So I wasn't that musical guy or that musical kid. That wasn't me. So for me to do this, it only allowed me to start DJing and getting the feel of DJing. It took my uncles to start doing their thing in DJing. And then for me to see it, then I grab it and then I'm at to where I'm at. But no, thank you for that. And I really received that and I'm taking that. I got 2 questions for you before you go. Okay. And I really thought about these and while we're speaking on education and you're being in the educational space, right? I wrote it down, right? This is for like audience engagement, right? do you ever think about your speech like a DJ thinks about a set list? Since you've been a DJ before, have you ever think about your speech like a DJ thinks about a set list? They building that energy, they dropping the highs and the lows, and they keeping the crowd engaged. Do you ever think about it like that?
Great question, man. First of all, I don't like the question because you're giving away my secrets. So people often ask me, how do you speak without notes? People often ask me that. Like, how do you speak on stage for 90 minutes sometimes? There's no, now sometimes I'll have a PowerPoint if I'm talking to adults. But if I'm talking to a team or students, I don't have any notes. How do I know what I'm gonna say next? It's a playlist in my head. It's just like DJing. And so the other day I spoke to Florida State University's football team. The coach wanted a gospel message. And so I knew from the set list in my head, I knew how I was going to end. I knew how I was going to start. I knew the joke I was going to tell. I knew when I was going to make them cry. I knew when I was going to make them laugh. It was all a set list. So I talked about my mom committing suicide. Very vulnerable. And it wasn't a gimmick. I wasn't like, I just knew it was going to make me cry. So they probably going to cry too. Like, it's a very sad story. I talked about that. And I was married for 20 years. And me and my wife, we're still good friends to this day. We actually talked on the phone yesterday. Still good friends, but we got a divorce after 20 years. After our kids were grown and in college, we got a divorce. And that's very embarrassing for me. And so I talked about that. And so, but I built to that. And a matter of fact, in the beginning, I said, I hate divorce. When my dad got a divorce, I judged him because I judge people who get divorced. I set that up. That was the playlist. And then I came back later and admitted I was divorced, right? And then I broke down these 4 chairs, and then talked about your Christian faith and where you're at. And then I broke down their players that played at Florida State, who were great football players and great believers. Because the devil want to tell you that you can't be a great football player and love the Lord. Like, if you're going to be a great football player, you got to listen to secular music, you got to cuss, you got to drink, you got to have all the women. And I named guys who went to that school who were Hall of Famers who lived for the Lord and were better football players than they were. Wow. That was all part of a set list. The reason I knew where to go next in my head, because I knew when this song ends, this song's going to fade in. And this song's going to stop abruptly, and then this song's going to come out. And so it was the exact same way I would prepare music when I would go do a dance at a middle school or do a wedding or whatever. I knew this is going to work here. Like, this. You don't play the line dance the first song. You just get there. You don't play, where them fans at? You don't open with that.
Yeah.
A non-DJ with a phone and an aux cord, no, you don't open up with that. Right. That's going to be your high. So you wait till everybody's kind of out there, and then boom, then you drop that, right? Yeah. And so it's a great question, man. I do write my speeches like a set list, even my sermons. Man, wow. That's a great, I bullet points to remind me of where to go. And so that's a phenomenal question.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, and I'm not kidding, bro. I was looking at one of your again, I looked at all your videos that's being sent to my phone, and I'm like, yo, like, how does this guy come up with all of these stories? Like, how? Because I remember you did it live when I was DJing the conference, and you had stories, and the guys was all looking like, you had them in tears, you had them laughing, you had them in all types of emotion. And I'm like, I'm looking at these videos and I'm like, how is this guy literally coming up with these stories and it's so engaging? So I wanted to know that as well. So I was like, let me ask this question, because it was like, but then I found out that you was a DJ and I'm like, oh, so it's perfect. This is a perfect question. So I have another question for you as well. All right. Music is called a universal language, right? It's for everybody. It could be for everybody. And do you think that speaking has that same effect? And how do they two connect? How do they connect together?
Very good.
In faith, universal, and faith, however that is, because let's be honest, in speaking, you in both worlds, right? You're in the corporate world and you're in the faith-based world. So how does those two connect when it comes down to it as a universal language?
A good speech is like a good song. So if the presenter, this is what I learned from E.T. E.T. taught me several things. One, you said this before we got on the air. You talked about the Android joke I use. Everyone's heard that joke. So why is it still funny? It's still funny because you got to add flavor to it, and you got to make sure you hit them when they don't see it coming. But it's still funny because someone in the audience has an Android, and their friends are saying, "Why do you still have an Android?" And so ET taught me you can say the same thing over and over again because if it's good, it's good. If I see a Martin rerun that I've already seen, I don't turn the channel because I've already seen it. I want to watch it again because I've already seen it. The same with Law and Order, right? The same with Michael Jordan and LeBron highlights, and the same with our favorite song. We don't ever say, "Don't play that song, I've already heard it." No, we say, "Play it again because I already heard it." So with speaking, if you're good, the second thing ET taught me is passion. A great speaker will make sure that you're locked in because of the passion. They're paying for the passion. That's why the volume is loud, because it's passionate. And you can tell, you said this to me, you said, "I can tell that you just care about that audience. I can tell from the video, you're not up there for a check. You're not up there to be known. You really care about that audience. If it's preschoolers or old people, white, black, First Baptist or Church of God in Christ, it doesn't matter." And that right there is the same as a good song. And so a good song will come together, and you hear the chorus, and you want to hear it again. And when it gets to a peak, you get excited. It has emotions, and you know this. Certain songs are tied to certain events. You can hear a song right now that'll make you cry. It may make you think about the death of your granny or death of your friend because that song was played. My cousin Ricardo, he sang this song at funerals all the time. And this guy, the Bishop Lonnie Ray Mitchell, he's saying this same song. And when I only want to say the name, I'll get teary-eyed. But when I hear the song, instantly I'm taken to that place. I'm not a big ACD fan, but I like a little rock and roll. But my college was black and white with our colors. And they had this song, "Cause I'm back in black." When I hear that, it takes me to the football huddle. I'm instantly there. And the same with the music. I don't see nothing wrong. I'm dancing with Buffy at Russell's house in ninth grade, 1992. She in the 12th grade. I'm in the ninth grade. I can't believe she dancing with me. And I don't know how to dance, so I'm rocking back and forth. And all I hear is, I don't see nothing wrong. All I hear is R. Kelly, right? So the song takes you there. And so a good speech is like a good song. That's why even some of the jokes you hear me tell on social media, I play them again in another venue because it's still funny, it still resonates. So to answer your question, I think music is a universal language, but so is speaking. Speaking is so powerful because it gives hope. Yeah. It takes you to another place for a moment. And that's why, like I told you, we already have an engagement for 2027. We had 258 engagements last year. I don't know how many we have this year, and we already got a bunch for 2026. It's not because I'm a great speaker or I'm so articulate, it's not so smart. That's not it. It's because the passion is real, and everyone needs hope. I'm a hope dealer. Every community has a drug dealer, and when you want to get high, you go get that fix. You run into that drug dealer. Everyone needs hope. Music gives hope. We get in our car, we roll the windows up. You see people, you'll see an old white lady at the stoplight. It's almost like she's in her own world, right? You'll see an old missionary with a big old black lady with a big hat on. She in her own little world, singing the song, because it takes us to another place that we could not have gone without the soundtrack. And that's why, as a DJ, it's so important that we provide a soundtrack that glorifies God.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I was that same R. Kelly bump and grind. I remember my dad was playing that song and I was young. Dad playing that song. I remember, I'll never forget, I went to church and I got up because in the play, I don't know if you ever watched the Medea plays. There was a thing, and there was a skit in there, or an actress. She was like, "I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind," right? I got up in the middle of church and I sang that part, and my mom slapped the death out of me. Like, she slapped me so hard. She said, "If you don't sing that," she slapped the heck out of me. But that's what music does, because you just hearing it and you just like, yo, that's what. Again, I'm just a young one listening to that, and I'm like, look, that was my dad. Shout out to my dad, put me on all of that. You know what I'm saying? That was him. So that was his fault. But I just end up just thinking that it was just words, and I didn't think how important those words were to a certain audience. I just said it because I heard it, and that's how a lot of people were just moving.
That's why we got to be careful what we play for children.
Yeah.
So I was an athletic director for years. I caught a lot of heat because I didn't want our cheerleaders dancing to secular music. And everybody was like, what's the big deal? And I said, well, it's kind of inconsistent and hypocritical of us to not allow the students to use profanity and not allow them to use the N-word, but we play it at the games, right? And even if it's blurred out, it's a clean version, the audience says all the words. And we're introducing this dialogue to them, right? So I just see so many people use it as an excuse, and a lot of them just don't know. And a lot of them are just lazy, too lazy to find more appropriate music. I know a lot of believers love the Lord, go to church every Sunday, go to Bible study every Wednesday night, and their coaches and their leaders around youth, they work at Boys and Girls Clubs, and they play this music because it's lazy. It's the easy music to access. It's easy to push play, but just write down the lyrics that Glorilla says. Nothing against this young lady. I use her as an example of hard work ethic with young ladies all the time, especially in inner city communities. But just write down the lyrics and ask the student to read them aloud. Right? I did this thing, man, at the